Hey guys, today I bring you the start of a new tournament. This was the National Amateur Championship, and this tournament was restricted to people below 2000 elo, and there were two sections, one for people below 1600 and one for people between 1600 and 2000. I could have played in the below 1600 category because after the update of the rankings, I was 1547, as you can see in the screen. And yeah, I decided to play in the 1600 to 2000 so I could play stronger players. And yeah, they let me do it, so I was more than happy for it, even though I was one of the lowest rated players in the field. So yeah, here in this first round, I was paired up against Paul Fernandes, a very nice gentleman that I met in this tournament. He was 1750 when we played, and so a 200-point difference. Let's see how the game went. I had the black pieces. My opponent started with d4. I went d5, c4, e6, knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, bishop e7, and bishop g5. So we have a standard queen's gambit declined position, and yeah, I'm happy to see this on the board, as is my main weapon against the queen's gambit. So h6 here, my pawn goes bishop h4, I go castle, he goes e3, I go knight bd7, and he goes rook c1. And here I go c5, which is very confrontational, but it's I like this type of positions. And funnily enough, yesterday I played a game, this slow format, and I had this exact same position on the board, but the game was totally different. So yeah, I played this a couple months ago, and now yesterday I played this exact position. I had this exact position on the board, and yeah, I didn't even realize that the position was exactly the same yesterday. But it's funny that now I'm recording this video, and it is exactly the same. Very funny. But yeah, so here my opponent plays cd5, and here I make a huge mistake actually. I play c takes on d4. The correct move is to take with the knight so you don't damage your structure. And now here the bishop is hanging, so you take the bishop here and take back with the knight. And yeah, I mean here normally white takes on c5, and here you just take on c5, and there's a lot of possibilities. You can trade the queens, you can play queen c2, you can play bishop e2, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. But this game was different. In this game, my opponent took on d5, and I immediately took on d4. I don't know, I even prepared this, I didn't prepare this exact line, but I prepared this type of lines, and I thought that just taking on d4, it's just natural, it's what you do. But yeah, this is a big blunder. My opponent didn't punish it. The problem here is that white can take on d4 with the queen. This is very strong because we still have to deal with this d5 pawn, and let's say we take with the knight, which looks very logical here. White can just take with the knight here, and after something like bishop takes on h4, he can take, for example, with the queen, and when we trade everything, he gets left out with this isolated pawn for no compensation at all, and white is just better, considerably better. White can just develop normally with bishop d3, knight bishop d3, maybe it doesn't even have to castle, he can just play bishop d3, king e2, and knight f3, knight d4 to blockade this pawn. And yeah, this is just a comfortable advantage for white, and it's kind of painful to play this with the black pieces in my perspective. But yeah, this is not what happened in the game. After c5 and these trades, my opponent does a move that loses on the spot, and it's a very natural move. So my opponent here takes on e6, and this is already completely losing. And it's kind of funny how just like I make a mistake and my opponent makes another mistake. You know, I make a blunder, my opponent makes another even more big blunder. So here, of course, you take the knight, and after it takes the knight on d7, now this is the difficult part here. What should you do? I would invite you guys to pause the video and try to figure out the only continuation that wins for black. Actually, the computer just gives -4, which, you know, it's completely winning. And yeah, I didn't find this in the game, and I want to challenge you guys to try to find the whole variation, like try to calculate everything till the end, and see if you can get there. So yeah, hope you're enjoying the video. I just wanted to point out quickly that 82% of you guys that watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I would highly appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button. Thank you. So the what I played in the game is incorrect. I took on d7, which is not good. It's not winning at all. The critical variation, which I tried to calculate, but unfortunately I just couldn't see the winning continuation. I only saw the one that was not winning. So here you take on b2. This is the critical variation, and yeah. Now what I calculated, which it's incorrect. I calculated rook takes on c8. We take the rook. It takes the rook with the pawn, queens, and I calculated queen takes c1 here. And yeah, there's compensation, but I mean, we're just down to pawns. Actually, just white is doing very well because let's say bishop e2. Actually, bishop e2, no, the bishop e2 loses to bishop b4, so it's not as easy as it looks. Bishop d6, it works now. Bishop b4 check, you can go king e2. Okay, this is critical. But yeah, this is not as simple as it looks. But yeah, the point is that we're not gonna queen. Let's say bishop d3 and let's say queen c1. Of course, here black is not gonna capture the queen like this. White can even just castle here, I believe, and you know, we can't really promote. The queen is just gonna get captured, and there's nothing going on here. So yeah, where did I go wrong? So congratulations if you saw the correct variation. The correct variation is that after he promotes to a queen, you take on d1, so you take the first queen, and of course white is forced to take back, and here you don't promote. If you promote, it's just equal. It just goes back with the queen, and yeah, I mean, it's not equal, you're just worse. You're down like a piece, you know, you're down like a full piece, and yeah, this is not good at all. You're just down a piece. This is completely losing. And so after taking on d1, you need to take with the rook, and here, I mean, yeah, here you're completely winning, but still, I mean, there was a variation that was kind of hard for me to really see what was going on. I mean, bishop d3 is just easy. You just go rook c1 check. When the king moves, you just take the rook. But knight d2 wasn't that easy to see, because okay, you go rook c1 check here, but after king e2, you can't really promote yet, and you know, it's not as simple as it looks. Actually, maybe it's quite simple, because here you can actually just go bishop e4, or I believe you can just go here, and you're threatening to take into queen. So yeah, I mean, it's easy to see. I take back what I said, but from a distance, I mean, seeing all of this, no way, I didn't see this. But yeah, it's kind of funny how I could have just won a game in a spectacular fashion here with this all variation, but I didn't. I just stopped here because yeah, I didn't even see that I could take here and all these complications. Hey guys, Rick from the future here. I forgot to mention an important variation here. So after pawn takes on d7 and pawn takes on b2, we looked at rook takes c8, but there's also pawn takes bishop on c8 queening here. And here the important thing is that you have to take the rook here. If you capture this rook, then you're just completely losing because white just captures back with the second queen. So you take this, and of course now white is forced to play rook b1, because if he trades here it's the same story. We're just gonna queen, and yeah, there's nothing he can really do. The same goes for if he takes our queen. We take first with check, so completely winning. So here rook b1 is necessary for white, but now bishop b4, very important check. I mean, the only way for white can go two ways here. He can block with knight d2, but in this case we just play rook c1. And here, there's of course an attack on the queen and on the rook. So let's say if he takes here, we just play queen takes d2, and after queen takes on d2, we now queen, we take the rook with check and we queen, and now the queen can't capture our queen because of the pin, and it's checked, so it's just game over. It's gonna be mate in a few moves. And yeah, apart from that, there's not really much he can do. I mean, he can try to take here, but you know, just loses the queen and it's game over. So also another try might be king e2, but here we have knight d5. Yeah, which is threatening knight c3 a check, and yeah, it's more complicated than the other variations after all, because on queen b3 you have to you have to find queen d7 apparently, and yeah, the engine says that it's that the variation goes something like this, but yeah, it's not so simple as the other variations, because here, I don't know, maybe just taking on b2 with the rook might be an option, but not knight c3. Yeah, it's not gonna be very pleasant, but yeah, it's not as simple to see all of this actually compared to the other lines. So yeah, I wanted to include this. So yeah, after all, it wasn't that easy to see this and to calculate if this was actually winning from a distance. So yeah, uh, yeah, let's go back into the video. That was that. We both missed it, and so I took bishop takes d7 here, and my opponent takes on c3 with the pawn, because I mean, if he takes with the rook, I just have bishop b4, so yeah, this is bad for him. So he takes with the pawn here, and I play queen c7 here to connect my rooks, and to put pressure on c3 as well. Here my opponent plays bishop e2, I play g5, and here, g5 has a clear purpose, even though it's bad. g5 was for me to play queen a5, but actually it's funny that I missed a lot of tactical details in this game. It was a very poor game for myself and also from my opponent, as you'll see later on. Yeah, here I could just go queen a5 and directly. And actually, I just thought that this was stupid and you couldn't do this because you're just losing a piece. I mean, bishop takes on f6, bishop takes on f6, and queen d7. Like, what? Like, literally, white is just up a piece and a pawn. So, yeah, black can resign here. But not so fast. Actually, after rook fd8, there's a very concrete problem. The queen is attacked, And the best move here is to actually just go back with the queen to to d3, which yeah, it's not what you want to do as white. Here black is completely winning, but let's say that the natural move would be to just keep the queen on the board, of course, and stay up a piece. But here, just bishop c3 check just ends the game. I mean, what can white do actually? He can't step into the d file. I mean, of course, he doesn't want to take here because I mean this is just losing, right? So no question about that. And the same goes for 92 here. I mean, you can just take here, and let's say here. I mean, just here, and you're up a rook. So and the beautiful finish if king e2, which seems that it holds everything. You have queen b5 check, and yeah, there's no way to stop this mate. Very beautiful. He has to go queen c4, but after this is just checkmate. And yeah, I missed this detail, so I didn't go queen a5 directly, which was way better than what I did. I went queen c7, which is very slow. Bishop e2, g5, queen a5. So my plan now, he can't take on f6, so the bishop on d7 is protected. And here he plays bishop e5, which is, I felt like it was kind of weird. I was expecting him to play castles here, and I don't know here if I would have taken the pawn here, or if I would played rook c8 first to target this pawn. I don't know what I would have done, but I thought that I would be fine because I would get my pawn back either way, and I would be active. Although, like, the problem is these weaknesses on the king side. But yeah, I thought that I was satisfied with the game. I wasn't in love with the position, but I was satisfied. Um, but here my opponent goes bishop e5, I guess to protect c3. And here, another plan of queen a5 was bishop a4 to attack the queen. And I'll ask a question: where is the queen really going? Doesn't have a lot of squares. And next, I'm gonna play a rook to d8 and put a lot of pressure on white's position. Here, my opponent plays a bad move. Plays queen d4, which I thought that this just lost the game, and it almost does, because now after rook fd8, the queen is trapped. It's beautiful. The queen has no squares at all to go to. The queen is literally trapped here, and I saw this when I played bishop a4, but I thought that my opponent was just gonna play queen d3, which makes a lot more sense because now after rook fd8, he has queen f5, which it's fine for white. But yeah, here my opponent goes queen d4, and I thought, okay, nice. I just won a queen. Now he has to sack the queen because there's no way to save the queen. And here my opponent plays bishop f6. I take on d4 with the rook, and he takes back. So yeah, he got a rook and a knight for the queen, which is some compensation, but I mean, I'm in love with this position for me, like way better than like 5 moves ago. But here I actually didn't have to sacrifice his queen, sort of. He had this tactical move that he didn't see, bishop c7 exclaim. Yeah, bishop c7 is just an extraordinary move because, of course, if I take here, he takes here, and there's nothing going on. We just traded queens. But here, this bishop is hanging, so I just take the bishop. But now he takes the bishop on a4, and yeah, he's just still up a pawn and better for sure. He's gonna castle next, but I'll have pressure on c3 for sure. So yeah, it's a game still, but my opponent missed this tactical resource that he had to kind of stabilize his position, and yeah, we ended up in this position here, and I played a very important move, very critical in my opinion, which is bishop b5 check. So not allowing him to castle here because the bishop will be unprotected. He traded, and now he can't castle, which is very important. If he could castle, I mean, his rooks would be connected. His bishop on d5, on d4 is a monster. yeah, it was gonna be very hard to penetrate his position if you could just castle and develop normally. But here, this queen is just saving everything because it's just blocking the connection of the rooks by castle. So my opponent understandably plays king d2, which I feel is very natural to connect the rooks. But yeah, the king in the middle is way worse than if it was castled. So here I just played the natural rook d8, pinning the bishop, and he plays rook b1, activating the rook. Very nice move. Here I play queen d5, and look at this queen. This queen d5 move is like very good. This queen is just a monster on d5, just super centralized, and it's attacking a2. It's defending b7. He's putting pressure on f3 and g2, and he's also pinning another pin onto the bishop. So yeah, this queen is just amazing on d5. Really couldn't ask for a better queen placement. And here my opponent plays rook b2, so he kind of wants to double the rooks. But I thought that this was slow because it allowed me to play g4. And here, of course, my opponent needs to play knight e1. And here I felt like I was way better because his pieces are very disorganized. The only really good piece here is the bishop on d4, but maybe I can even trade it at some point. And yeah, even though I can't take on g2 directly, I have some possibilities, I had something to work with here. So yeah, I like my position here. But my opponent just played an horrible move. I mean, he played knight e5, and here, I mean, you can't miss this, of course. I just took the knight, and he resigned. I mean, the bishop is pinned, so after I take the knight, I'm just up knight here, and yeah, there's nothing. He can't take back the queen because it's pinned. And yeah, this game was very crazy. I mean, this game is very good to study tactics, calculation, resources. And yeah, this was like a crazy game where we both missed so many opportunities, so many tactics, so many resources. And yeah, this wasn't that good. But yeah, I managed to win and to start the tournament with a victory, which is always nice, and especially when I was playing against a player that was 200 points higher than me. So I was very happy with this game. And yeah, this was the first game, so very exciting game, full of tactics and possibilities. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one and you had some fun solving the positions and tactics. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.